Stay in touch with us on Facebook and Instagram at Unique Yet Connected. You are now listening to the 50th episode of Unique Yet Connected podcast. The theme for this episode is See Me.
Being seen is important for you to feel you are part of life.
Hello, brilliant souls in and around the world. Nolitha Ozwa Fenton is my name. Tolokazi is my clan name. And this is episode 50. A warm welcome to Unique Yet Connected podcast. And as always, Kinga and Nika on the other side of the virtual. Over to you, Kings.
Thank you, Noli. Hello, dear listeners and co-editors. I'm Kinga Silaji. And as we have established in the previous episodes, that people can exhibit codependency in different ways and in varying levels. In this episode, we will look into when you feel resentment when you are not appreciated for your actions.
Thank you for joining our movement of translating this wisdom of systemic family constellations into a practical language that all of us can easily understand and implement in our daily lives. Yes, today we are on our last codependent behavior, resenting not receiving appreciation for your actions. What is this codependent behavior about, Kings?
This links in very much with taking on too much, because even though taking on too much seems like a selfless act, but it is not so selfless that you think it is. The minimum that you would like to get back is feeling appreciated by others. That they tell you what a great person you are, and they see that you are doing all these things for them. This is resenting not receiving appreciations for your action in a nutshell, or at least one side of it.
Okay, I just like how they feed into each other. So after you've taken on too much, then you at least want that minimum reward of appreciation.
Yes, I just wanted to say that reward is important for us. We all normally choose pleasure over difficulty. The pleasure we want could be manifested in different things. It can be money or food. It's a natural wish of yours that you want to live a good life. And there is another pleasure that you might want to claim a certain important position in society. This position brings with it appraisal from others for what you are doing for the society or for a person in a relationship. Resenting not receiving appreciation for your action links in very much what gives us pleasure.
So, is it possible to resent people for not saying thank you? For example, when you do something for someone and they don't even say thank you, even if you don't know them, does the simple appreciation of a simple thank you link in with this codependent behavior?
Yes, it definitely links in with it. And while I was preparing for this episode, it hit me how much this point links in with not being seen and how important it is being seen for you to feel that you are part of life. When I looked at not being seen from the systemic view, I realized how often the work is about healing the feeling of not being seen. The question I ask from my clients when we work with this are, who didn't see you? Or from the ancestors, who was the one who was not seen?
So what you're saying to me, not being seen, is very big. And when I was thinking about how I measure with resenting not receiving appreciation, I didn't feel like it related to me. But I also didn't want to be dismissive because Now I know things always come up in an episode. And like what you just said about being seen. Now I'm curious as to what does that mean for me? Because the fear of being seen has come up for me in previous episodes. What questions can I ask myself relating to this codependent behavior so I can measure where I am with it?
When the experience of not being seen is linked to you and your life, then usually the hurt from not being seen happened very early in your life. And from there, it can become a pattern which is followed through in most of your relationships. The constant feeling of not being seen follows you around like a loyal dog. It is very difficult to move this pattern without a constellation because the hurt happened before you could even speak. You are often not even aware that there is this void in you. On your own, it is difficult to accept that the parent who couldn't see you now suddenly started to see you. This is especially challenging when you were abandoned by one of the parents. What you can do on your own is to bring in your mind's eye, your little child self, and tell the little one from your adult self that I see you. Try to constantly nurture the relationship with the little you.
Yes, dear little one, I see me. I see you. Yes. Thank you for that, King. So, how do people display this type of codependent behavior? Resenting not receiving appreciation for your actions. I feel this one can be very tricky to point out.
Yeah, before we went there, with your permission, I would like to explore something else first. It occurred to me that there might be a question about if it is necessary to do constellation work when you are already doing the inner child work and see the little you, like I mentioned in the previous part. The one who was not seen, when you have already brought around that healing between your adult self and the little one. Why would you do a constellation about the experience of not being seen? With the help of the constellation work, you can gain an insight of what was the reason behind that, for example, your mom couldn't see you. Where is this feeling of not being seen coming from? Is it possible that the reason behind that your mom couldn't see you has nothing to do with your mom's love for you? It could be rooted in the fact that when you were born, you ended up in an incubator. Your mom was not able to breastfeed you, or she suffered from postnatal depression. And in case of these unfortunate events, the original bonding between you and her couldn't happen, and you are left with the feeling of not being seen. Now, would you please ask me your question again?
Remember, when you comment, ask questions, like, and share our content and links, you help us grow together and change lives together. Like us on Facebook and Instagram. Yes, Kinga asked me if I could ask my question again, but in a little bit I will do. But there's something that I just need to bring up. Remember, Kings, that my mom didn't know she was pregnant. And when she found out, it was complicated because it would mean an end to her education. So she walked around with that anxiety and she couldn't be out there about her pregnancy. So it was kind of a secret around the college.
Yes, you are right. Yes, it can happen that the child is a secret, a hidden thing.
Okay, dear listener, just to clarify, please note, we haven't done a constellation on me and being seen. We only did the 9 months in my mother's womb. So we don't know as yet if that is the root cause. I was just adding to the possibilities that could have had an impact on being seen.
And again, you are absolutely right. Starting your life as a secret is very big. When the pregnancy was hidden, you were gonna come to the world bringing with you the imprint of that it is not safe to be seen.
And on top of that, when they do finally see you at birth, you shock them because you look different, like I did as a baby. There was an Asian vibe in me, hence my nickname was No Palestine. As you all know, it's Xhosa, so that's for Palestine. So then there was a stereotype that only white babies are born with no hair. And there I was looking like nothing they've seen. My dad even asked my mom if they didn't mix me up with another baby. And my mom was like, she knew, it was me. So she said, no, So I've always found it strange that they forgot the other race or races in the family DNA. I guess I also triggered what they were trying to hide in my dad's bloodline.
I heard you a little bit like saying this jokingly, but so maybe there is a question if you hiding something there a bit because your belonging was questioned right at the beginning already.
Yes, Kings. There were issues about belonging, and that we can have offline and back to my question because we'll never finish this episode. So my question was, how do people display this type of codependent behavior, resenting not receiving appreciation for your actions? Because in my feeling, this one can be very tricky to pinpoint or to point out.
A good indicator is when you are not doing your job, even your hobby, sport, or other activities to fill your soul and follow your life a bit more pragmatically to make a living, but to be seen and appreciated by others. Did you take those piano lessons for your pleasure or to make your mom proud?
Yeah, because we live in a world where recognition seems like a big thing. When you do things and you excel, you get that recognition and appreciated by others and even being put on a pedestal in celebration, of your achievements. So, and as parents, we always praise children when they do things, and saying we are boosting their confidence and self-esteem. So, for example, I have an example of a child, let's say in a family function, we'll praise them. When a child gets up and sing at a family function, we'll praise them, even if the singing is not on point. But I think because it's cute and brave, and like we all know that it's not, very comfortable to stand in front of a crowd and sing your heart out. And I'm not saying that the child is not doing it from the heart. Like I said, because they are doing that from their heart, we're like, oh, this is so brave. So I think my question then is, doesn't all of this make it tricky to recognize this type of codependent behavior? Or aren't people or parents feeding it somehow, without knowing? And or the appreciation we get can be seen as feeding the soul, as can be seen like, oh, this thing is feeding my soul, because of the bloodlines.
Receiving appreciation from others and in reciprocation, recognition of others' achievements are very important parts of creating healthy relationships. And actually, it is not appreciation, but resentment is the key word in this sentence because you shouldn't base your actions on wanting to receive appreciation for them. The child you mentioned is doing the singing to bring happiness to the listeners, but the action also brings happiness to her. Both parties gain. There is no resentment involved here. Now, I would like to go back to not being seen. During the systemic work, one of the giveaway sentences of not being seen is to feel that there is and was no one there to help you. There is maybe a monologue running in your head, something like this. Everything I have to do on my own. I'm even going to do what you are supposed to do to save us. You don't see that I have to do everything on my own and what I am doing for the relationship. In the meantime, you are not pulling your weight and don't even see how much effort I put in for us.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I relate to some of doing everything on my own. And, so I guess that's why you said it links with taking on too much. So the person does all these actions in the relationships out of wanting to be seen. And if the person doesn't recognize your actions, you resent them for not seeing or they are not appreciating the actions in the way you want them to appreciate. Because I've also noticed that, with me, a person could be doing something, but if they not doing it the way, so now because I've started doing this work, I have to kind of always be in awareness that this person is, doing something. I'm just not, they're not doing it the way that I would do it or I want them to do it. That also with appreciation, we could be appreciating somebody, but not in the way that they would like to be appreciated. So we gotta note that here, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, another big problem with taking on too much is that you end up focusing so much on how you are not appreciated for your actions that you end up not seeing what the other one is giving, or we could say doing for you and for the relationship, like you mentioned. The person who was not seen and appreciated can easily become the one who can't see and appreciate the other.
Oh, wow. It seems like a paradox. They want to be appreciated and seen, but they can't appreciate and see the other person's efforts. I like that.
This takes you to the vicious triangle of the savior, victim, and perpetrator. You take on too much for the relationship like a savior, but your partner doesn't appreciate your actions. You become a victim and your partner the perpetrator. Then you, out of resentment, refuse to see what your partner is giving, and with that, you move from victim to perpetrator. And dear listener, if we kind of tweaked your interest and you would like to know more about this game people play, please listen to episode 47. Now, the big question is how to get out of this vicious cycle. This game you play with your partner is obviously not healthy for the relationship. I believe at this point it's very, very important to know that the hurt child wants to be seen all the time. And there is no way that another person can fulfill these needs of yours. Only when you have healed this wound and feel seen will you able to do what you do, not for others to appreciate you.
One of the episode we even said it was similar to trying to fill up a bottomless pit. You've mentioned that a person can do the inner child work, which is something you work with as well. And there's also where you can go deeper to look at where does this come from in the system. Have you worked with people who would do their inner child work and still have this codependent behavior showing up? And if you have, did you do a systemic constellation part of it to get to the root cause in the family system?
The root cause comes out most obviously during constellations. Most important thing is that you can always assume that this child that was banished to the shadows wants you to spend time with him, like we mentioned. Something has happened to you as a child at a certain age, and this child would like to be seen by you and be made part of you again. Before the constellations reveal it, you can never be absolutely certain who is the person who didn't see you. Sometimes you know, but often you don't. You, Nolly, have the greatest relationship with your mom, so you would have never said it before the constellations revealed it, that the root cause of not wanting to be seen is because the pregnancy was hidden. You were hidden. You were not seen. Your mom was hiding you.
Yes, yes, yes. Even though she feels like, no, I wasn't doing it intentionally, but there was hiding involved in there. And this has been another revealing episode for me. It shined a light on the fear of being seen that I have been carrying for a long time. And it is clear now that I must book a family constellation session as soon as possible. And dear listener, I hope this episode helped you too. Please do share this episode so it can help the next person.
Thank you for your contribution in helping us to be chosen into the top 10 South Africa Family Podcast by FeedSpot. Join our monthly virtual connection circle every last Tuesday evening of the month. To receive your link, subscribe on our website www.uniqueyetconnected.com or check for updates on our socials at uniqueyetconnected.
In the next episode, we will explore relations between your self-concept and the need to be appreciated.
And just like Noli, if you feel like you are experiencing limiting patterns or relationship issues and would like to have an individual session, book a family constellation session with us on our website www.uniqueyetconnected.com or on our socials, Facebook or Instagram. Our handle on both platforms is @uniqueyetconnected.
A big thank you to you for listening to our 50th episode, and to Nick Mons from That Guy Productions for making us sound fabulous and on point. Episode 51 is in 2 weeks' time from now. Tune in on the 21st of July, 2024 from 10 a.m. South African Standard Time. And remember, you can find our episode anytime, that you want to listen to them online, Apple Podcast, Spotify, and YouTube, and on our website, www.uniqueyetconnected.com. For links and updates, stay tuned on our Facebook and Instagram pages @uniqueyetconnected, unique spelled YOUNIQUE. Stay unique, stay connected, and remember, you are one of a kind, and we can only create a really meaningful podcast together. Siyabulela, Kosonom, till the next episode.
Thank you. Siyabulela, Kosonom.